This is by Elias Amidon from Sufi Way, a Sufi order, and he was talking about witnessing um, our broken world. The whole subject was around staying steady in these times, and he was talking about the importance of witnessing and not averting your eyes from the suffering, and the idea of uh, um, moving towards something that matters, something that really matters in the future. And what that is emerges in each of us um, when we sit silently. So, this is the prayer. Beloved, take my sad heart into yours. Take this wounded world. Take the dark air, the heavy cities. Take the children we have blamed. Take us. Take the women at their windows. Take the men who don't know what to do. Take us, beloved, into your heart. The lost salmon, the little frog, the bees, the corn, the whale, the falling trees. Take the streets, the asphalt, the roar of tires. Take our machines and those we have discarded. Take the fast missiles, the plastic bottles. Take our planes, our broken words. Take us, beloved, into your heart. Teach us what really matters.
Thank you. Let's do a meditation. So get comfortable, sit upright with good posture. Inhale and exhale through your nose. Eyes closed or open, doesn't matter. Just watch your breath for a few cycles, just as it is, without influencing it in any way. Just watch the breath, each inhale and each exhale. Now, with each breath, on the inhale, expand and tense your body. And on the exhale, relax to neutral. Then exhale more till you completely exhale and contract and tense your body. Inhale back to neutral and relax. Again, inhale full and tense. Exhale back to neutral and relax. Exhale completely and tense. And continue this cycle for a few breaths. Okay, just relax now with good posture. Just breathe normally and relax. Take note of your feeling or sense of awareness. Now, with the inhale, expand your awareness so it gets bigger and bigger. And on the exhale, let it go back to neutral. Then exhale more and contract your awareness so it becomes smaller and smaller. As you inhale, expand back to neutral. And just continue like this. With each inhale, expanding the awareness bigger and bigger. And with each exhale, contracting the awareness smaller and smaller. Make your awareness as big as you can and as small as you can. Okay, now just let everything be as it is. Let the breath happen of its own accord. Let the attention do what it will. Rest in awareness, however it is, without changing anything and without reaching, clinging, judging, or rejecting. As you come out of the meditation, don't rush. Take note of how you feel and what sensations you have. If you experience any measure of peace, relaxation, happiness, just remember this feeling. So the discussion topic from the night for the night comes from Bruce, and it's a quote from a book called Flight of the Garuda. And since I'm sure some of you have read it, some of you haven't, maybe we can impose upon Bruce to read it to us. It's not too long. And we'll talk about it a little bit, and then we'll go through it kind of sentence by sentence and see if we can get into what it's talking about. Bruce, you're on mute there.
Wow.
There you go.
The Flight of the Garuda is a Dzogchen Buddhist text. And I don't really know much about it. I bought it on impulse in January, and I'm about halfway through this short text, and I haven't read the commentary or anything. But I've sort of been mesmerized and by the wisdom that is included in it. And Matthew and I have had several discussions about the brief verses that is within it. And I've spent about a month with this one. Um, so I will read it to everyone. And it's talking about distinctions. And I think that Matthew will help us understand what distinctions point at.
What's Bruce? Isn't the title of this verse "Signs of Non-Duality"? Isn't that what the title is?
You would know that. You mean the beginning of the chapter?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
signs of non-duality. Yeah.
And who is the author of this book?
The translator is Keith Dowman. And for anyone who wants a text that points very clearly at a deep level of wisdom, this is a good one.
It's an old book, though. Yeah,
It's an old text.
right. Translated by Dowman. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who wrote it.
I've peeked into this book a number of times, and I'm looking forward to reading it because every time I peek into it, it's filled with wondrous things. So, yeah.
So this is one of them, one of the wondrous things. When there is no distinction between appearance and emptiness, then perfect vision is realized. When there is no distinction between dream and the waking state, then perfect meditation is realized. When there is no distinction between pleasure and pain, then perfect conduct is realized. When there is no distinction between this life and the next, then your original existential condition is realized. When there is no distinction between your mind and the sky, then the Dharmakaya is realized. When there is no distinction between your mind and Buddha mind, then the goal is realized.
Okay, so what I would say about this, first of all, just in the general sense, is that obviously it's a teaching, but I would also say each one of these could be a practice or an inquiry, maybe, and also is an actual experience that is associated with awakening. And I think that's the import of the title, Signs of Non-Duality. So what I thought we would do is go through each sentence one by one and do a little bit of our own inquiry. And then if you have any questions about it, we can talk about it. And there is a sense in which each one of these is talking about and pointing all toward the same truth of non-distinction, no distinctions. But there may also be a subtle progression here, or at least a progression that we could use as in our practice to lead us deeper into this sense of no distinctions. So let's look at the first one. When there is no distinction between appearance and emptiness, then perfect vision is realized. So here's what I want you to try. Close your eyes. Now open your eyes. Okay, and I want you to do it again and pay attention to your sense of awareness and its expansion and contraction. See whether the awareness expands and or contracts with the opening and the closing of the eyes. Just open and close your eyes a few times and see what happens to your sense of awareness, big or small, expanded or contracted. Where is it? Where is your sense of awareness with the eyes open or closed? So when I did this, and I think many people maybe can feel this, it doesn't have to be like this, so it isn't necessarily true. But when your eyes open, your attention and your awareness goes out. It expands to take in perceived distance. And when your eyes close, that sense of awareness often contracts and comes very close to the body or even smaller than the body. So I want you to try it again, but try to find the neutral place with the awareness neither overly expanded nor overly contracted, and to open and close the eyes without the awareness jumping out or jumping in. That there is less contrast in the awareness with the eyes open or closed.
Matthew?
Yeah.
What if it didn't change?
That's okay.
During the exercise.
That's okay. So if it didn't change, try the opposite. When you open your eyes, try to expand your awareness outward. And when you close them, try to contract it way small within the body. So you can get a sense of that difference in the awareness jumping out or jumping in. So you can do either way. Yeah, good question. So what I'm getting at with this exercise is that we often perceive a marked contrast in our experience when the eyes are open and when the eyes are closed. And the inquiry is kind of, what creates that contrast? Why is there a contrast between eyes open and eyes closed, between appearance and non-appearance, or here between appearance and emptiness? So if you take eyes closed to be a kind of emptiness and eyes open to be a kind of appearance, what creates this contrast or this distinction between the two? Mark.
This is a very, very interesting inquiry. It's really good. I think I've mentioned before, I know I did in another group where we were doing some exercise with Salvador Poe, and I noticed that when my eyes go open, I seem to go out. If I look at anything, if my eyes sort of remain neutral or, not focus on anything, there's a kind of a balance. But as soon as I look at the candlestick or the books or whatever, I'm out. And when you first asked if I've expanded, in a way, spatially it felt like I'd expanded, but actually in a way I felt like I'd contracted into the thing I was looking at, and I'd become kind of smaller in a weird way.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But when you said try and balance it out, try and be neutral, it never occurred to me that that was possible, and I found I could. I could look at something, but not like, just what is that thing that's like latching on to the thing I'm looking at, or going out to it, or meeting it in some way. And it's almost like I'm going, as far away as that is, I'm going that far away from myself in some way. And I just decide to look and sort of like just hold back while I'm looking. I don't know how else to do that neutral thing you said. And I could do it right away. And I thought that was really, really interesting. Like, really, like that would be a good way to be all the time, to just be able to just kind of hang back,
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, good, very good observations. And yeah, just as Mark was saying here, it doesn't necessarily have to be what I described, this sense of the awareness going out or contracting. You have to see for yourself what is making that contrast. What happens when you open your eyes? What happens when you close your eyes? It could be just different thoughts. When you open your eyes, you start thinking about everything that's out there. When you close your eyes, you might start thinking about yourself or your own more internal direction. So it could be many different things. It could be a feeling in the body and so on. But the idea is to find the two poles of this duality, appearance and emptiness, something and nothing, and then try to see what it is in your experience that creates this sense of duality, this sense of polarity, that these things are different, and try to find the neutral place between them and explore being in that neutral space. Any other questions on that one? Okay, let's move on to the next one. They get more and more interesting as we go. The next one is, when there is no distinction between dream and the waking state, then perfect meditation is realized. So I want you to consider for a moment what dreams are composed of. What is the sensation of having a dream? And, they are composed of things like appearances, sights, sounds, people talking, events, spaces, thoughts, sensations, fears, hopes, love. It's all in dreams. All these things can be experienced in dreams. And when you really start to consider this, it's not so different than what's happening right now. Try to experience this moment as if it were a dream. You don't really know. You could wake up at any moment and find yourself in your bed. And you're just dreaming. You had just been dreaming this. Try to see this moment as if it were a dream. Just take a moment and do that. There's nothing in this moment that you couldn't experience in a dream. And no way really to know whether you're dreaming or not. Now there's one more step to this. This being the case, that this waking experience is indistinguishable from a dream experience. What is it? It's not a dream, and it's not waking state. We don't know what it is. But it's happening right now. Okay. Any questions or comments from our dreamers out there?
Kristen has one.
Thanks. It seems easy to distinguish a dream and real life because there are so many things that I do in a dream world that doesn't happen in this life.
Right.
So that just was a thought when you asked that question, what's the difference? Most of the time in my dreams, I'm talking with somebody's dead. I won't embarrass myself with some things, or I'm, lots of things that are happening in a dream that it's pretty clear it's a dream. So what do you say about that?
So what I would say about that is did you make the distinction before or after noticing this difference?
It was after, right?
Well, think about how your statement started. The difference between the dream and the waking state is things happen. I guess you could say it comes afterwards, but what I would say is that the distinction doesn't come before or afterwards. In other words, things happen in the dream. When you're dreaming, do you make this distinction? Sometimes maybe, sometimes no. In other words, do you know you're in a dream when you're dreaming all the time?
No.
No. So you just, in the dream, you just take the experience at face value. Whether you're talking to a dead person, flying, or whatever it is, you take the experience as it is. You don't think, oh, I'm dreaming. That's possible. But this is also possible while you're awake, while you're in the waking state. So, what I'm getting at is when you take the experience that you are having at face value without making a distinction, which is really just a thought, I am in the waking state or I am dreaming. When you take the present experience at face value, then the experience is the same, whether dreaming or awake. I mean, the content may be different, like you said, but that's a thought where you're like, oh no, there's a distinction there. So you're coming in and making a distinction. If you're just experiencing whatever's happening, be it talking to dead people or being in a Zoom meeting, without any sort of judgment about those experiences, they are all just experiences. And we can, in the waking state, have the thought, I am awake. This is the real world. And we can also have the thought, am I dreaming? I think I might be dreaming, and believe it. And when we are dreaming, we can have the thought, I'm dreaming. This can happen when you have a lucid dream. You think, oh, I'm in a dream. But you can also have the thought while you're dreaming, I'm awake. You can think, oh, I'm awake. I've gotten up in dreams, gone into the kitchen to make breakfast. Then I wake up, So you see, it can go either way. We really don't know what we can make the distinctions, but, what I'm trying to point towards is what is the experience without distinctions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand it, but
Right,
it
but
makes sense.
great question though. Great. You almost stumped me. Great question.
So, Matthew, why does no distinction here lead to perfect meditation?
Well, because you just take the experience as it comes. You're always in this moment now. You're not judging it. You're not even deciding whether you're awake or asleep. What difference does it make? You still respond to the present experience. So this is like perfect meditation without judgment, grasping, deciding. Without reifying thoughts. In other words, believing that you are awake or that you are asleep. It's just clear seeing, just seeing what's happening and responding to it naturally.
So the concept of perfect meditation, right? I mean, that's an interesting concept, which feels sort of wrong to me.
Tell me why.
Well, it doesn't sound, it doesn't feel like a thing, right? It seems like, oh, I'm going towards this thing. I want this thing, but there's nothing. There is no thing. The perfect
Well,
meditation is nothing.
that's exactly what it's saying. No distinctions, no thing. See, when there's no distinctions, there are no things. So I would, in essence, agree with you. But I don't think I think that's essentially what this passage is saying. Perfect meditation is non meditation. It is just being in the natural state. But the natural state without distinctions. Yeah. Okay. Let's move to the next one. I have to find where I am here. Okay. When there is no distinction between pleasure and pain, then perfect conduct is realized. So here's the exercise or the inquiry. Find within your body now some kind of pain, some sensation of unpleasantness and pain, however small. It can be really small, even just like, oh, there's an ache in my shoulder, or there's some excess tension in my back that doesn't feel good. Just find some element of pain within the body. Okay. Shouldn't take too long. And now I want you to find some element of pleasure within the body, something within your body that feels good. Okay. Now, just consider, without placing any thoughts on these sensations, they are both just sensations, pure sensation. It is the mind that comes in and says, this is pain, this is pleasure, or I don't like this, or I like this, or I'd like to get rid of that, or I'd like more of that. Without that intervening thought, both the pain and the pleasure are just pure sensation. Just experience your body with all its pains and pleasures as pure sensation. Okay, now I want you to think about something that's painful, let's say psychologically or emotionally painful. Now, think about something that is psychologically or emotionally pleasant. Now consider nothing has happened. We've just been sitting here. And these thoughts, be they painful or pleasant, are both just thoughts. And the sensations, be they judged good or bad, painful or pleasant, are both just sensations. Just thoughts, just sensations. Questions or comments on the exploration?
So this is the one that Barry sent a question.
Oh,
Barry
great. Let's hear it.
And just to point out, the pleasant sensations are more pleasant.
Indeed.
So I think Barry is considering surgery to change back pain, and he says that in his meditation, um, there's an understanding of constant change, and maintaining awareness and equanimity within that enables the practitioner to avoid reacting with either aversion to painful, unpleasant sensations or craving for pleasant sensations. So his questions: would this state be equivalent to the one described in the Dzogchen teaching, when there is no distinction between pleasure and pain, then perfect conduct is realized? In other words, no distinction between pleasure and pain doesn't mean the practitioner can't distinguish between the two. Rather, it means that the practitioner's conduct is not based on reacting with aversion or craving.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the case. It's not that you can't make distinctions. It's that you don't take them to be real. So what Barry's describing is certainly the practice one would undertake to discover whether these distinctions are real or not. Or you could just say, what are the distinctions? Where do they come from? And so once you can find a state of equanimity with regard to pain and pleasure, then you're, I would say, prepared to start real inquiry into where these distinctions come from. How do they arise? Because before that, without the equanimity, without being able to see pleasure and pain without reacting to them, you will react uncontrollably to sensations of pleasure and pain and you will be caught up in them. They will grab hold of you, and you will be inside of the pain or inside of the pleasure and identified with it. And you will go on whatever ride it takes you on. And you will never have an opportunity to see, how did I end up on this ride? Because you're already on it. So you have to create like a gap of this where you can see all things as equal, where you can feel the pain and not react to it as pain. Just see it plainly as pure sensation. Same with pleasure, and not allow yourself to react to it, to get away, or to reach out to grab hold of it, reach out to go into it. Say you either want to go into that pleasure or you want to keep out the pain. Get out. You don't want to look at it.
Kind of like being in that neutral space where I'm looking at things, but not going out to them.
Yes, it's very similar.
Vision.
Yes, you're not reacting. Yes. So one way to practice is to explore non-reactive states. Try to understand how and why you react to things. When you're pissed off, what is that? How does that reaction happen? You have to study yourself when you feel upset or depressed. What's going on? You just have to look. There's not a right answer or a wrong answer. You just have to look. How does everything happen? How do sensations happen? How do we distinguish between pleasure and pain? How do we become caught up in the pain or the pleasure? And so on. So, yeah.
Any more questions on this one?
Not a question, well, it's a question. It is a question. So, emotions and reactions, I understand them. I mean, I can see where they come from. I can see, and I can do an inquiry into them, and I can reach some equanimity and neutral state. They seem easy compared to physical pain.
Yeah.
Physical pain. I mean, I'm loving this aspect, of course. It's there. It's present. It's large, and it's like, okay. As we're talking, I mean, I could be in a neutral state. I can see the potential of being in a neutral state, and sometimes I can even be in that neutral state in the moment that my mind is saying, this sensation hurts. It hurts.
I hear you.
So I mean, I guess I'm really interested in the inquiry that you allude to,
Yeah.
as to, all right, where does this sensation come from? Well, I know that it comes from some um, uh, physical manifestation, or however my body is put together, and how all the processes work, and
Yeah, no. Don't, what I would say with regard to doing the inquiry, it's very important that you don't jump to conclusions about what is going on. Don't create an idea in your head. Oh, I know there's a neural system in the brain and all this stuff, and you have this idea of what's going on. Try to look without any idea whatsoever, just with a kind of curiosity to see what's there. Imagine you don't know anything. You don't even know what your body is. and look at it that way. With regard to the intensity of pain, the first thing I will say with regards to physical pain versus emotional pain, both can be completely overwhelming. Emotional pain can completely overwhelm your entire life in a way that you don't even know who you are anymore. And physical pain can do the same. So it's just a matter of, that's just a matter of intensity. The intensity of the emotional or psychological pain and the intensity of the physical pain. So when the pain is very acute, you're right, it's very hard not to be like, well, this just sucks, it hurts. And what I would say is that these experiences are opportunities for praxis. Don't set the goal for yourself that you will never react to pain. This is not the goal, or that you would never react to emotions. This is not the goal either. The goal is to practice in order to attain a kind of equanimity that allows you to see clearly what's going on. Don't think about perfection as, oh, I will never react to pain, or I will never. That's the wrong idea in my view of things. You will react naturally, but as you understand that there is something underlying both pleasure and pain, which unifies all sensation, then you will naturally become less reactive to negativity, and you will have more reserves to cope with physical pain or emotional pain or psychological pain. You know, that's just the utility of it. But what this practice is also getting at is fundamentally no distinctions. Notice this is just one area, pleasure and pain, that we've been talking about. There's also appearance and emptiness, dream and waking state. See, it's always two polar experiences or polar thoughts about what is going on, and trying to see through the middle of them. What underlies both pleasure and pain? What is the, if you can get to that, then you can see, this underlies all sensation, all emotions, all thoughts, all appearances, everything.
No, I understand.
I,
and I'm so excited too.
And I understand, Alan, that the practice is not easy. I've been there.
We did have this you and I had this conversation once quite a little while ago, and you told me you got to just look it right in the eye, the pain right in the eye.
Yeah, this is true for pain. Practically speaking, the first thing is to focus on breathing.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is that it will help you not react. Or it will, if you've already reacted, it will help you calm yourself down and be able to create that space in order to look. If you're screaming and, if you're just freaking out, there's no way to look at it.
Right.
You've already sort of lost your mind. So just breathe is the first thing. In through the nose, out through the nose. If the pain is very intense, in through the nose, out the mouth. Like if you're ever have a serious injury, or you're in the hospital recovering from a surgery or something, and you're experiencing a lot of pain, breathe in through the nose, out the mouth. Breathe into the pain. And when you exhale, exhale the pain. Breathe into the pain. And when you exhale, exhale the pain. This is just so you can get kind of a handle on things.
Right.
When you've been able to do that, the next step, and these are all kind of interconnected, the next step is to acceptance. Just accept that this sensation, however painful, is there. It's already there, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, there's nothing you can do about the fact that it's there now. See? So it's already there. So just accept that the pain is there. Then the final step is to try to look directly at it, and see it as pure sensation. And I can tell you from experience, if you can do this, even with very intense pain, you can see it in a way that is not negative, that is not troubling. You will have a different experience altogether. You might say something like, wow, that's very interesting. Or you might even say, wow, that's excruciating, but very interesting. So, it's this is the practical aspect of this kind of training. It is very practical with regards to dealing with real pain.
So Matthew, you wanted me to remind you to 10 minutes. We're over on this
Okay.
slide.
Yeah, let's move to the next one.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay. When there is no distinction between this life and the next, then your original existential condition is realized. Okay. So you have an idea that you are alive right now, and that one day you will die, that you are this body living in a world transiting between birth and death. But much like we did when we spoke of dreams and the waking state, I want you to consider, how do you know that you are not dead already? How do you know that what you are experiencing right now isn't some kind of afterlife? That we are not in the bardos or in purgatory or in heaven. Try to see your experience now as if you are dead already.
This is fairly similar to seeing life now as a dream.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's almost exactly the same. Yeah. But it tackles a different conditioned belief. Say, this in a dream tackles the belief about distinction between states, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. This tackles distinctions about life and death, about this life and the next life and the life before, about before birth and after death, during life, and so on. We make all of these distinctions, but they're all rooted in thoughts and beliefs. And stripped of those beliefs, what you're experiencing right now, the overcorrection is you could actually believe that this is some kind of afterlife, that you are dead. That's possible to believe that. But what if you believe nothing? Then again, you're just experiencing what is happening at face value. So, if people ask, what is it like to be dead? You might say, well, it's like this.
I have a question comment. Um, the similarity between those two inquiries, while they do address, like you said, different belief systems or sets of beliefs, both ride on the fact that distinctions are the process of making distinctions is
Right.
the same.
Yes,
And
it's always
they
the same.
both rely on thoughts.
Right.
And what I'm looking for, and you are, and I'm not saying you're not providing these, but you can't not have beliefs before you don't have them. You can't just right. So it's like the process of getting to that I don't know what to call it, that settled mind state, or the state or state, I don't know what word to use, where the mind, in the same way that when I'm looking out, like sort of I go out to see the picture or the candlestick in front of me or whatever's there, I do the same thing with my thoughts. Like a thought's there I go. Now I'm with my thought.
Mhm.
So at a certain point, even though I'm having thoughts, I can still be like almost the same thing. It's really interesting. Everything you're saying, I'm reflecting back on that first thing. I had the experience. I believe I can have the same experience of being neutral. I can see my thoughts. I can see
Right.
things, not go out to it.
Yes.
And once I can do that,
Yeah.
then I can really explore, well, what even is a belief? It's like,
Right.
but
It's not, yeah, exactly. It's not that I'm asking you not to have any thoughts. Just don't believe the thoughts that arise or that are present. So that you are alive is a thought. That life is distinguished from death is a thought. That you were born is a thought. Whatever you think you were before you're born is a thought. Whatever you think you will be after you die is a thought. You can have all of those thoughts, but just recognize that they're only thoughts. Don't be caught up into them, into creating a worldview out of them. And remember that this is only practice. This is practice pointed toward realization. The and I guess we'll get to this in the next few. So let's move on. Good question though, or good comment. Especially the fact that each one of these is asking you to do the same kind of thing, not to allow your mind to be caught into a view or
they are deeper though, because each belief system it's almost like it's more important. What I do with my vision is nowhere near as important as what I do about pain
or life and death.
Or life and death. So it keeps going. So
right.
it's
It keeps
really
going.
good that way.
It keeps going.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. When there is no distinction between your mind and the sky, then Dharmakaya is realized. Now, if you don't know the word Dharmakaya, this word means, I believe, I'm not an expert in Buddhism, but means truth body. So everything you experience and the whole sky and everything underneath it, everything that you experience are nothing but appearances in your mind. Your mind encompasses everything. See all that comes within your awareness as nothing but your own mind. In other words, what you think of as your body and your mind is just one small part of your full mind, whole mind, which encompasses everything within your perceived experience. The screen, the walls, the air. It's all your body. You have no limit. All limits, distinctions are imagined through mind activity. Even the mind does not exist as a separate thing. There's only this one truth body, this Dharmakaya.
Easy for you to say.
No, it's easy for anyone to say. Okay, any questions on this one?
I don't want the answer to this now, but after the last one, because it seems like you the inquiry is a progressive one. Let's be really hard to go to like one of the last ones and start there. You know, this is it's all just keeps sinking in, or,
Yeah.
or somehow.
Yeah, I think that's too. I think there is a subtle or not so subtle progression at work here. Yeah. Okay,
I do want to say I really appreciate the way you're doing this. When I read that quote, I'm like, I saw the progression. I'm like, how the hell, are we going to dive into this? And lo and behold, I good job, really.
one step at a time, right? Okay. When there is no distinction between your mind and Buddha mind, then the goal is realized. Now, this is all I'm going to say about this one. There is nothing other than this mind. What other Buddha mind could there be? Consider it deeply.
You seem to be alluding to the, or pointing to the situation, state where my conscious mind and all our conscious minds come from or are just compacted manifestations of the Buddha mind or source or whatever that flows through us all the time, and we, as this consciousness, this local consciousness, this local consciousness, because I'm not sure about mind, but local consciousness is not aware of. That's how I. That's the point of view.
Yeah, all I would say is you don't need to create such elaborate almost a metaphysical view. See, like there's a mind underlying these minds and so on. There's just this mind. It's present. You're experiencing it right now.
Got it.
You know, as Ramana Maharshi used to say, when people talk about, the lower self and the higher self and realized self and big self and small self, he would say, how many selves can there be? And that's the same as pointing at your mind and saying, there it is. Don't imagine other minds. The mind is right there.
I guess my comment question is not entirely different. Um, it seems like these last two are very similar to me. Like if everything, all perception, all experience, all feeling, everything is your mind, then at that point it's not your mind. It's not your mind anymore. It's just everything.
That's right.
So now this one's saying when there's no distinction between this mind and Buddha mind, but the last one is already, you're already there. It seems like I'm not really clear on this one because it seems like if you recognize whatever the word would be to realize that this is all just that mind, what would be the difference between that and then Buddha mind? It seems like that is
well. Again, first of all, I'll say two things. Good question. You can go all the way there from the very first one. You don't necessarily need all the other ones. The very first one, appearance and emptiness, form and emptiness. That's it. If you can just realize that, no distinction between form and emptiness, you're already there. You don't need any of the other ones. The other ones are antidotes to specific distinctions or specific thoughts. For example, a person who was a devout Buddhist, see, might think, oh, Buddha mind, and put that up on a pedestal. That couldn't be my mind. My mind's filled with defilements and filthy things and bad deeds and, rambling thoughts, and it's far from perfection. It couldn't possibly be the Buddha mind. And so this one is pointing toward no distinction even there. No, even your defiled, filled mind is Buddha mind. So, I would say in some regard, these are meant to be high-level teachings. So they are course corrections for people who have already, gone quite deeply into maybe experiencing non-duality, but maybe still have these shreds of problematic thoughts.
I personally have at least one shred, maybe even two.
Yeah, but so that's my thought about that, is that this is an antidote to a specific thought, that your mind could somehow be other than Buddha mind, whatever its state. And that really all of these, although there is a kind of progression, they are all really pointing toward the same realization that comes from leaving behind all distinctions, not being caught up in them, not seeing them as real, not allowing them to become your reality. Any other thoughts? If no, that's good. It's a sign we did something right in this progression.
I feel a great sense of peace.
Also, another good sign we've done something right. Yeah. Yeah. What else is there? Look, this little passage, this little verse, it covers everything. What else could there possibly be?
I'm sorry, can I ask a quick question, or is it too late?
No,
Okay.
no, it's never too late.
Okay. You asked, I think, what else could there be?
Yeah.
And you can be as brief as you want, and I kind of think that asking this is probably missing a point, but how is the what else for me? When you've done all the work, when all of this that we talked about tonight is just as intuitive as breathing and just does itself, what is it that actually makes that dissolution of that last barrier happen? Like, I thought you might get a kick out of that.
Well, that is the big question,
Okay.
and that is, I will just tell you, quite mysterious. The best I can say is, I don't know if it's worth even saying anything. it is mysterious. Something does happen, you know. But and
your brief and complete teaching in your book, just the real, it's been helping a lot. That's just
look, it's already there. Whatever it is that you're searching for, the truth, it is already present, right? So the question is how does one realize it? How does that realization come about? Well, it's not by discovering something new. It can't be anything new because it's already there. So whatever it is, you are already in some way, however occluded, you are already experiencing it. And yet it is covered up by layer upon layer of thoughts and beliefs about who and what you are, what the world is, and what's actually happening.
That's the part I keep getting stuck on. It's like I would swear I'm there. The weird thing is that there is an I that thinks I am there. That's the one piece I'm stuck on.
Yes, well,
No piece.
everything you experience is experienced through this I thought. So the what you need from where you're at, what you need to do is to fold this I into everything and the everything into the I, so that there is no distinction between I and everything. In a way,
That actually makes perfect sense.
yeah, and in a way, that's exactly what this whole passage is talking about doing. That's one more layer. We could add it in, you know. No distinction between I and everything, between self and world. And, you know, there is a certain trajectory to our lives. These thoughts, beliefs, and conditioned ideas about what are happening are not evil. That's part of the play of consciousness. We have, those thoughts and beliefs have built up layer upon layer through the course of our lives. You know, at some point we have an idea, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. And those are like little seeds building up this sense of this I thought. And on some level, all of those seeds, all of those, I call them karmic chains because they run through our life, you know, both forward and backward. And in some way, we have to find our way to the end of all of those different karmic chains. We have to come to the end of our rope, the end of our story. See, we have to go so far that there's nothing more to chase down. There's nothing to do. There's no hope, no fear. Nowhere to go and nothing to do.
That is very familiar.
Then this realization takes care of itself. The underlying reality reveals itself as none other than you, your own true nature. And it's not I, and it's not everything. It's something else that there's no words for.
That's exactly what I needed. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for the good
It was a great
last
question, Kim.
Yeah.
Every one of us has the question. We want the magic button to push. Well, thank you, Matthew. Sometimes you talk me into very deep, quiet places. Ellen, peaceful place. and definitely tonight. So thank you. And thank you everyone for joining. Let's share the marriage and do a dedication. And Kristen, can you do that for us? Are you?
Sure. All right. With great gratitude, we gather our hearts together. Just speechless with the profound wisdom that is ours, our Buddha nature. And may we learn and contemplate and meditate deeper and further for the benefit of all sentient beings, for peace in the world and on this planet Earth.
Thank you so much, Kristen. And thank you, Isa, for our opening prayer. And thank you all for being here, showing up, and for your patience and attention. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful evening.
And let's, do we set the one for, the next one is going to be on the 21st of December. So just know the 21st of December, where it will be a week earlier, avoid the Christmas, New Year's rush. And, you know, I have sat with this quote for 30 plus days of meditation. And I just encourage you to visit it, hopefully non-conceptually and without distinctions, but to visit it, and just see where it takes you. And I think Matthew tonight gave us, great leads into it. But if he were to talk tomorrow, there would be 6 different leads, I think, or the next day there'd be other. It's a very, very, very rich teaching. And the other thing that he started at the beginning is it is a teaching, it is a practice, and it is an experience or an awakening or a who knows what
Say,
that.
an experience associated with awakening. That's what I would say.
An experience associated with awakening. So it's moving us closer. It's and thank you for finding that the the the
PDF.
PDF exactly to send to everyone, Kristen. Blessings to you all. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, everyone who's here.
Thank you, Bruce, for coordinating all of this.
Indeed.
Blessings to everyone. Yeah.